Good afternoon and welcome to BizTech's Asian Midday Market Watch, powered by Smart Investor Singapore. Tina Teng, Markets Analyst at CMC Markets APAC Canada, is our guest today, coming out of Auckland, New Zealand. Tina, as always, great to have you on the show.
Hi, Bray. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much. Now, Tina, I'm going to come back to you in a while, but first we're going to take a look at how crypto markets are performing, and then we'll also look at regional stock markets. Now, Bitcoin is above the 20,000 markets at 20,257.1. It's up 4.74%. Ethereum is at 1,488.35. It's up 10.56%. Now, looking across to regional equity markets, India's market is closed for a holiday today. So we start with the SGX, which is up just under 1% at 0.99%. The KLCI out of Malaysia is up 0.43%. Shanghai is up 1.4%. The ASX All Ordinaries is up 0.1%. The Nikkei is up the Nikkei is up 1.01%. The Hang Seng is up a whopping 2.25%. And rounding up the numbers, we've got the Kospi, which is up 0.79%. Tina, it's a sea of green across the region. Please tell us why.
So overnight, the U.S. market had the third day strong rally because the bond yield had a sharp decline. I think the recent weak economic data just growing the best that the Fed would slow down its rate hikes, which boosted the risk sentiment. And also the recent U.S. earnings came stronger than expected. Some of them helped the risk sentiment and the further rebound in the equity markets.
But one of the key things also is overnight, Tina, in terms of earnings, Microsoft and Alphabet came in at disappointing earnings. Microsoft was, I think, down 6% in terms of earnings. Is that something that is worrying you?
I think probably just the weaker than expected earnings from Alphabet, but the Microsoft actually the earnings were aligned with the expectation, but it's the cloud business like Azure's business growth is lower than expected. I think that both the earnings are weaker than estimate, only a temporary drag down the broad markets.
Tina, your internet connection is very poor. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Could you just repeat that, Tina? Yeah.
Okay, how about now?
Yeah. So so in terms of, you were mentioning that in terms of earnings for Alphabet and Microsoft, it was kind of in line with expectations.
Microsoft was in line with expectations. Only is Azure, the cloud business growth, didn't meet expectation because the growth 35% from last year, but expectation was 36%. But I think just the Microsoft, they always has the robust growth. However, this time they didn't really beat the earnings expectation in a big way. That's why Microsoft shares dropped in after hours trading as well Alphabet. But Alphabet's earnings actually came much weaker than expected, with both earnings per share revenue growth slower than expected. I think just probably the earnings disappoint investors for now. However, the broad market is still on this rebounding trend, just because now the focus all on the Fed policy, and I think traders might be expecting the Fed would slow down the rate hike sooner than expected. That's why I think the whole policy optimism right now are the dominant factor that support this rebounding trend.
Okay, but this is interesting because on a flip side of the equation, some economies around the region, in particular Australia and some of the ASEAN markets, have been slow to follow the Fed's rate hike rises. But then data out of Australia this morning showed that Australian inflation hit the highest in 32 years. And Consumer prices rose 7.3% in the third quarter. What's your take on this, and will there be pressure then on the RBA to perhaps go on a more aggressive policy stance?
So this data actually didn't have much of an impact on the financial markets in Australia. I think because analysts expect that RBA won't change established turnaround from last meeting. Because last time RBA only raised interest rate by 25 basis points, lower than expected. And I think they'll keep the established turnaround in the rate hikes. They'll continue to raise interest by 25 basis points instead of 50 basis points. Probably will extend this rate hike cycle. This is why I think the financial markets react as very stable. And actually, Australia dollar now is just slightly up against US dollar.
Now, I want to ask you about Chinese stocks, and Chinese stocks recently obviously have shown weakness because of political developments in terms of a leadership reshuffle. Do you think this is a temporary thing and perhaps a buying opportunity?
Yeah, I think this uncertainty actually was just a speculation. People are worried about the new leadership could change the policy stance or uncertainties about the economy around the zero COVID policy. But actually, I think the Chinese government will just stick to their original stance about the policy, including support in the infrastructure sector, and also just extend the loose monetary policy to continue to support the Chinese economy. That's why the China market actually today rebounded sharply, and also the Chinese authorities are trying to boost this confidence after this one-day sharp sell-off on Monday and the following Tuesday. So personally, I think there's a rebounding opportunities here.
Now, finally, Tina, crypto markets. We have had some crypto jumps recently after a period of relative narrow trading ranges. What's your view on this, and is there a breakout imminent?
That's a possibility. As I think crypto markets are now back to the positive correlation with tech shares. What we can see, actually, the US tech stocks rebounded sharply recently, which could further boost this cryptocurrencies to break out the range bound movement recently. Especially we can see the Bitcoin now is touching like 20,500, which is a key resistance. A breakout over here may take the Bitcoin higher, which like the biggest market cap cryptos as well as Ethereum.
Now, Tina, as always, thank you very much for your insights. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Brian.
Now, we've been speaking to Tina Teng, markets analyst at CMC Markets APAC and Canada on BizTech's Asian Midday Market Watch, powered by the Smart Investors Singapore. I'm Brian Fernandez. This video and podcast will be on our website, www.biztech.asia, as well as our social media platforms. It will also be on our syndication partners, TV stations, radio stations, and websites. Thanks a lot for tuning in.